Car dealerships are expecting car sales to drop by anything between 10 and 70% in the coming months. Now, that's going to be very, very steep. The National Association of Automobile Manufacturers of South Africa CEO Michael Mabaso says it'll be a very difficult year for the industry. He joins us now via Skype to talk us through some of the very frightening numbers that he has been banning about. Mr. Mabaso, thanks for your time. Firstly, your reaction to the 2-week extension of the lockdown.
Good morning and happy Easter, Xoli. Thank you very much for inviting us. Well, certainly, we obviously welcome the President's announcement last night. We clearly understand the compelling reasons that he has advanced, before the nation, why this 2-week additional period is required in order for us to be able to continue to flatten the curve and obviously make sure that we prioritize the health of our people first before anything else. But certainly we are of the view, I think, from like many other businesses, the announcement will certainly have a devastating impact on many of our sectors. The automotive industry, for example, is definitely going to be one of the hardest hit by this particular extension.
Yeah, a comment from someone, Mr. Mabaso, that went along the lines, a new vehicle will be the last thing on a person's mind once this is over. How difficult a year is it going to be for the manufacturers of vehicles?
It is certainly going to be very difficult because remember, buying a vehicle in South Africa, particularly in our economic climate currently, is the second biggest investment that our people make. So, the first biggest investment is obviously property, and vehicles are the second biggest investment. And we are not anticipating a situation because our economy is already in a recession. We've seen 2 downgrades already by Moody's and also by Fitch at the beginning of the month. And certainly it's going to be very difficult. I can tell you now that since the beginning of this month, in April, we have not sold a single car. As the industry, our dealerships are currently completely locked down, and certainly vehicles are not being serviced. Our export book is also not looking great because we are not able to send vehicles out of the country, because if you look at our export numbers for 2019 last year, 64% of what we produced in South Africa last year went out of the country as exports. Currently, we are not sending anything out of the country, and certainly we are currently already projecting between a 95% and a 100% decline of sales numbers for April when you compare to the previous corresponding period.
That's a massive depression right there, Mr. Mabaso. How difficult is the recovery going to be?
Well, look, without doubt, that it's going to be very, very difficult. And look, we welcome the President's call yesterday that government is obviously considering engaging with businesses. And our request really to the President and government is to be able to make sure that those engagements after the lockdown are not wholesale. We need sectoral-based engagement so that the President and government can be able to talk to each and every sector by sector, because our challenges are not the same. If you take, for an example, retail, a lot of people are saying retail is currently celebrating because people are able to still buy and so on. Our retail in our automotive industry is talking a completely different story because our retail sector has grind to a halt, and we are not selling vehicles at all at this particular time. So our request, and obviously we're urging government to be able to engage businesses on a sectoral basis as opposed to a wholesale engagement.
Yeah, Mr. Mabaso, just something that strikes me as you were talking. I've obviously would have bought a car and driven it around for a few times. Will the car dealerships remain open for those who want to service their cars, because you don't want your car to go over the kilometers that it is intended for you to service it again?
Well, currently our dealerships are not open for the public, as in you and I, in relation to the maintenance and servicing of the vehicles, particularly under the lockdown. The arrangement we have is that we will certainly be able to continue to assist particularly our essential services. I mean, if a police vehicle, for an example, breaks down, or an ambulance breaks down, certainly the industry will definitely be in a position to assist. particularly the essential services vehicles that are currently on our roads. But if you drive around today, and I'm sure you are one of the privileged few who can still drive around to work and so on, you will be able to see that most of our dealerships, we've even removed stock, from the floor to the back so that we do not have access directly to the public at this particular time.
Michael Mabaso, thank you very much for your time, sir. He's the CEO of the motor industry.